This is a questionable reality production. Hello, I'm Zander Crowns, and this is AP Post History. Now let's get started. Today we'll be covering topic 3.6, the Great War over sensible reasons. Quite a welcome change to some. The war of sustained nonsense would soon come to an end, as the title suggests. This process was especially sped up by the collapse of the commons and in the increasingly toxic production crew. And it's this toxic production crew that would ring the death knell of this war, as the crews were either leaving en masse or perpetuating infighting. The infighting threatened the general maintenance of the war effort, while all of the people made it seem increasingly likely the secret of the war would be exposed. In that, it was pretty easy for the state media to censor a few here and there, or brush some people off as mere conspiracy theorists, which we like to do. The more witnesses, the less credible the media found itself. In fact, let's go to the History Makers segment, where one of these actors engages in a overly dramatic rant about the production. Okay, so look, you guys, I've been an actor in World War II for the past few months now. And let me tell you, the only atrocity committed on our side is the one against us actors. Everything is one take, and one take only. And the worst of all, they don't use stage bullets. They're real. They feed us the worst possible freeze-dried goop and make us wake up at the weirdest times. It's just terrible. I don't know how they expect any actor or cameraman to even operate in those conditions. However, the Big Four, now the Big Three, would not have to worry about it much longer. And to see why, let's turn to the Battle of Lot 8. A militia of actors, screenwriters, and cameramen banded together from Bigger, Texas, with the expressed mission to eliminate the annoying people behind the Tuads' war effort. So they gathered weapons and marched to Lot 8, where the Tuads were working on their newest project. Unfortunately for the Bigger Texas team, Tuads' newest project was forming a militia with the expressed mission to eliminate the annoying people behind the Bigger Texas war effort. Which you should probably catch up, that sounds very familiar. And when the leaders of all these nations were presented with this crisis, they decided to not defuse the situation with diplomacy, but rather beginning a new and real war. Therefore, the war over sensible reasons began. This distinction, however, was used only within the government and was only adopted later when the scheme behind the fake war was finally fully revealed. So the broader public, probably to the detriment of the government, thought this was only a continuation of World War II. The problem was that now suddenly civilians were being targeted, the sources of cannons could be heard from the streets. It felt as if a war had started. There was really no clear rhyme or reason behind the war, so the generals were somewhat confused about what to do and how to conduct this whole war business. Therefore, as so necessarily demanded by these times of great confusion, a policy of complete destruction was adopted. Targets were not to be captured, but destroyed. People were not supposed to be taken prisoner, but summarily executed. Anything and everything that could be destroyed should and would be destroyed. As a result, battles would only be won if and only if the other side suffered a greater casualty count, which weren't so arbitrarily and determined by dice as they were before. At least, human dice. All established alliances were broken off, so it would be Bigger Texas versus Tuads versus the Texas Society. Eventually, dividing the land up of the collapsed commons would become the primary objective. that was pretty late war. And the war would meander about with nothing particularly remarkable being accomplished, save more shedding of blood. In all honesty, the main difference between this war and the war of sustained nonsense was that every part of it was real, save the propaganda, which is never real. It also succeeded in convincing the people of Earth that they had been embroiled in a war for almost a decade. Now, with no end in sight and with no clear progress or objective being accomplished. With such sentiments breeding contempt of the government, popularity rates plummeted and some greater unrest began to be seen in the works. And that's it. Topic 6 of Unit 3 is complete. If you want to find success in your post-history class and fight a war over sensible reasons, as we all should, consider subscribing and liking this video. My goal is to see each and every one of you get a 92 in your class and a 7 on the exam in Quintober. Alright, Zander Crowns, checking out.